Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Larkin, one half of the Steve and Mike Show. www.steveandmikeshow.com is up and running, where you can hear such shows as what you're about to hear today. This is another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I am pleased to have on the beautiful, the lovely Miss Julie Ginger. Julie, it's a pleasure to be talking to you today.
It is a pleasure as well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
I'm very happy to have you on. I gotta say, you're doing your thing now in the adult entertainment industry. We're going to talk about your career, and truly, I just want to ask you, first and foremost, I hope everybody listening had a happy Thanksgiving. I gotta ask you, how was your Thanksgiving, Miss Ginger?
It was very relaxed and laid back. Hung out with some of my siblings and my parents, and we played cards and watched the Bears game, and was super happy. Obviously, my dad's a Bears fan, so we were happy about that and them winning. So we just kind of hung out, and then I had to work that night, so that wasn't as fun, but I still enjoyed myself.
Awesome. I gotta say this. So I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina now. Born Long Island, New York. We just moved. We've had this house for years. I gotta say, I've always considered the South my second home because most of my relatives on my mom's side are in the Carolinas. So we took that 3-hour drive from Myrtle Beach to Charlotte, North Carolina. We stayed in the hotel. We went to our relative's home. Then we went to Waxhaw, about an hour away, which is at my cousin's house. There was about 20 of us there, all aunts and uncles and cousins, just sitting at the table, just enjoying one's company. So I gotta say, it's you can't beat family, and it's just a blessing. It was so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And actually, funny story, I'm actually originally from South Carolina. So I know that Myrtle Beach is beautiful and I love it out there. And I actually have family in Charlotte, North Carolina. So there's a lot of similarities here.
Awesome, awesome. Now, if you don't mind me asking, what part of South Carolina?
I grew up more closer to Greenville, so kind of on the west side of the state. I loved it out there. I had family up in kind of Asheville area, so we traveled there a lot. And I had family down in Georgia. So, like, I have a lot of family in those three states. But I lived there for a while until I was, like, 12. Then I moved to Florida and lived there until I turned 21, and then I moved up here to Iowa. So I've been up here the entire time now.
Well, that's a hell of a transition. The South, you go to
It
Florida,
is.
Iowa.
It is definitely, and it's quite funny because I mean my mom's from up here, dad's from Chicago area, so it wasn't like I never came up here, never knew what the weather was like. I definitely had my fill of snow and then the hot summers, but being here now for 10 years, I'm just like, okay, I think I'm over this state. I'm ready to leave. I'm ready to get out of here.
So pretty. I was about to say, so you're like ready to bounce and just get on out of Iowa and move on.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I'm so ready to get out of Iowa. It's just been like, I don't know, the last few years have been very more evident that, you know what, I think it's time to change it up a little bit. And so my plans are to get out of here by the fall time, 2019. So.
Now, I have to ask you, when you mentioned Iowa, which part of Iowa? There, I know there's Des Moines. There's a lot in Iowa. Which part of Iowa?
I do live in Des Moines.
Oh, right
Yep.
on.
I live in the metro basically, and I actually just moved to Des Moines from just a little bit north of Des Moines this year. So but I am always in the area because I worked all over the place. So outside of being in the adult entertainment industry, I'm also a DJ. I do trivia and karaoke, and I do weddings. So I'm constantly traveling all over the state for all these different events. So definitely lots of fun.
So you're kind of like the female Pauly D.
Yeah, sure. Something like that.
Something like that. Well, I mean, I think that's great because, like, my family, like, my parents worked in radio, so I'm kind of, like, used to, because we have a friend, he's one of these guys, a DJ as well, so I'm like, I've been around a couple DJs. I think that's cool. I mean, you're having fun, you're playing music, spicing up a little bit, having fun at parties.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, in a few hours, I have to go up to the Iowa State University to go do a dance party. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but some type of event for the Iowa State band. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I know it's going to be, I think, a lot of really interesting, aspects of music coming at me because you've got so many people who love music because they play the instruments. So I'm pretty excited to see how tonight goes, actually.
What type of music are we doing? Because I'm a very eclectic soul when it comes to music. I love everything. So what you got on
So
that?
am I.
Awesome.
Well, I've got, I've had a couple of songs they've thrown at me. One of the ones they want me to play at the end of the night is Sweet Caroline. It's like it's like their song up here. I did not know how popular it was until going to a few Iowa State football games, and it's like every time they play that song, or every bar I ever went to in Ames, which is where Iowa State is, they play that song. So Sweet Caroline is one of their favorites. But really, though, I think it's going to be just a big mix of a lot of like upbeat, fun dance music, party music. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at, I think, tonight. So we'll see.
Awesome. Now, I got to say this, because when you talk about Sweet Caroline, the first thing that comes to mind, obviously, Neil Diamond. I love me some Neil Diamond. Yes. But I remember Saving Silverman. I'm talking about Jason Biggs. I'm talking about Jack Black. I'm talking about Steve Zahn. They were Neil Diamond fanatics. And Sweet Caroline, and yes, that's really what comes to my mind, Saving Silverman.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great movie, too. But, yeah, that's kind of, I think, where a lot of people pull that song from, just because it's a popular song in that movie. But Sweet Caroline's a fun one. They've got just a lot of crowd participation. Every time it's been played in a bar, everybody sings it, everybody does it. So it's just a fun crowd pleaser, I believe. So
now, you mentioned bar, and then we're going to get into your career, because it's about you. We're going to talk about the adult entertainment industry, but you got me hooked on this now with DJs and bars and stuff. Okay, I got to mention this. Like, you talk about being in Iowa. I don't know. Have you seen Bar Rescue with John Taffer?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I'm going to point this episode. It's a very memorable one. There was one bar in Council Bluffs, Iowa, which was the first bar that he ever walked out on. That was called the O-Face. Do you remember that episode?
Okay. I do remember that episode. I've never been to that bar, but I do remember that episode.
Oh, absolutely. My God. And they were, I know. And they were like adamant on like, oh, we're not going to change the name. I'm like, you're called the O-Face. No disrespect. I think that's cool, but I'm just like, you want to, like, he's trying to, like, help you out. Get your sales up from a business standpoint. I'm like, do you really want to call your bar the O-Face?
I know. It's such a funny name, but, like, yeah, I guess in Iowa we're weird, I guess, in that sense that, we like to do things out of the norm, but at the same time, like, when it comes down to it, they want things to stay the same. Like, I've noticed that about Iowans. And no offense to people in Iowa. Like, I've been here for 10 years now. And I feel like I'm an Iowan now. But, people are very set in their ways. And it's pretty frustrating sometimes.
I totally understand you. I get it. I see it a lot. And you know what's very funny about it, too, is because we're going to get into the adult entertainment industry now. Now, you, Miss BBW Julie Ginger, I got to tell you this right now. BBW, the first time I actually ever heard the term, and a lot of people will crack up at this, was Family Matters. And you're probably listening, you're probably thinking, Mike Larkin, what are you talking about, Family Matters? So there was an episode of Family Matters where Urkel brought his Aunt Una to visit Chicago, and Aunt Una was played by the late great Donna Summers. Let's dance and talk about some hot stuff, baby. Can you feel me? I mean, come on. So you got Donna Summer on the episode, and she's wearing, she's supposed to play like this big character, like a BBW. So she's in the bodysuit, and the pastor at the church, their local church in the area in Chicago, is attracted to her, right? So he goes, so she's like, I gotta lose some weight. I don't think he wants like big girls. And he goes at the end of the episode, it's very telling. He goes, I like BBWs. And she goes, what's BBWs? I love big, beautiful women. So you got the pastor on Family Matters talking about he loves him some BBWs. He loves him some Aunt Nuna.
That's right.
Yes. So that was actually, it's very funny, the first time I ever heard the term, besides being very popular in the adult entertainment industry and categories and genres, what people are into, but the first time I ever heard the term BBW was on an episode of Family Matters.
That is awesome. I don't think I've ever seen that episode, but I'm definitely going to have to go look it up now, because I definitely would like to see it for my own eyes, of course. But, it's just really, cool that it kind of was mentioned on a very popular show, because, as a BBW, it's very hard sometimes to get that recognition, or even just, like, get people to understand that BBW isn't a bad term. It's a good term. It recognizes the big, beautiful women of the world. So that's just my thoughts on it.
I totally understand with you, and I'll be honest with you. I'll share a little personal story about myself. Now, I love all women. I'm blessed with a lot of women in my life. I was raised by two great women, and my father's a great man, but my mother and my grandmother, who passed away unfortunately last year, God rest her soul, probably one of the two of the best women in my life, and I could sincerely say that. I love my mom. I love my grandma. But I got to tell you this. Growing up, and just being friends with a lot of great women that are in my life, from high school and later on in life, I gotta tell you, I'll be honest with you, Julie, a lot of the girls that looked my way were the BBWs. So the BBWs will always have a special place in my heart. And you know what it is too? We live in a world where unfortunately fat shaming is a thing, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Women are beautiful in their own way. Like yourself, Miss Ginger. You're a beautiful and lovely human being. You're very welcome. But I'm just like, come on, man. There's some beautiful women out there. It doesn't matter what size, race, whatever, what have you. There's a lot of beautiful BBWs out there and just beautiful women in general. So that just had to be mentioned. It had to be said.
No, absolutely. I agree. And I appreciate, you definitely, giving us that mention and, making it known that, you're right. Women are beautiful in their own way, whether they're big, small, tiny, tall, whatever. Every woman has that own beautiful quality about them. And, it is frustrating. The fat shaming is very evident, especially in 2018. It's like, come on, people, just get over it. We've got so much other big issues going on. Shaming somebody for their size is just ridiculous. So yeah, but you know what, as a big woman though, I have to say I do deal with that, but I think I've learned to just say, you know what, I don't care. You can talk to me the way you want to talk to me. You can treat me the way you want to treat me, but I love myself the way I am. And I think women out there who have issues with their self-esteem need to learn how to love themselves before they can, really love anybody else, because honestly, that's about the only way you're going to get through the world of shaming. So, yeah, that's what I have to say.
You know what it is, too? I think also BBW is like, looking at, like, the girls in general and women, all in all. I think it's the voluptuosity factor, just because it's a whole lot of women, you're out there, you're going out there, you're proud of yourself. I love the confidence about you, ladies. I truly do. I love the confidence.
Well, we appreciate that. I'm sure that I can't speak for everybody, but, I definitely just know that it is a big issue, especially in the BBW community, even though it is a BBW community, even people who shame each other. And it's very frustrating to see that, because I see it all the time. Other women shaming another woman for the way she looks and how big she is or how small she is. And, I think if we're supposed to be a community, we're supposed to be able to raise each other up. And I think I posted something about this the other day on Twitter with another female in the industry who does not like me because of a certain thing that I do. And I've never once spoke to this person. I've never once had any issues with her, but she blocked me. And, I did just kind of put a post out there saying, I've never done anything to you. I have no reason for you to be mad at me. I want to be a woman who raises you up. Why are you putting me down? So it's one of those things where we have to deal with it all the time. Another woman is going to put down another woman because she thinks they're better than her, or she's jealous, or she's, intimidated. But that's not how we should be at all. We should absolutely raise each other up.
Most certainly. And I actually will, it's funny, as we're sitting here talking about this very topic, I got another pop culture reference where I mentioned Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
Do you remember the episode where Queen Latifah was on the show?
Vaguely. I mean, it's been so long since I've watched that show, but I think so, yeah.
Okay, so there's, he's into her, but, they're talking about going to, like, the dance prom, whatever it was. It was one of those type of episodes, but his friends were clowning him, like, yo, she's a big girl. Will, it's not the type of girls that you're into, because, Will Smith, you remember him as the Fresh Prince, he's got all the girls, he's a ladies' man. But then you see Queen Latifah come in there, and they're like, man, what are you doing? And he's like, and then he breaks it off, and then she gets upset. It's his whole ordeal, but once they get to the dance, and then they hang out at the end of the night, they like him. He likes her, and they have a lot of things in common. They become friends, and it's wonderful. I mean, it's a great message.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree with that for sure. I mean, if people just give other people the, benefit of the doubt and stop trying to, make themselves seem better than, the next person, I think that people would find that, you've got things in common with these other women, or even just, guys or girls. It doesn't really matter. You'll have something in common with somebody as long as you just sit down and listen and give them a chance.
Now, I have to ask you, just last thing about the BBW community, then we're going to get into the adult industry. Now, the term BBW, big, beautiful women, I know there's also SSBBWs, which I'm also aware of as well.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, any real difference? I mean, they're still both kind of like, intertwined in the BBW community. So that's what I'm saying. I was always familiar with both of those terms.
Yeah, so SSBBW versus BBW, I think that you can use the BBW more loosely for women of different sizes.
Mhm.
But SSBBW is definitely has to do with your body, like a body type, really. Women who are just a little bit more voluptuous, a little bit bigger. And I've had somebody just kind of, we had a discussion about this, like kind of last year, right? After I had just started, and I was trying to figure out, what am I, BBW? Am I an SSBBW? I have people telling me I'm an SSBBW. I have people telling me I'm a BBW. Like, I don't know which one I am. I'm kind of both. But the discussion we had was kind of almost like on the weight scale. People who are who are below 350 are considered more BBW, and people who are above 350 and up are more on the SSBBW side. And again, it has to do with just the way your body type looks. I think it's just proportion wise. So I do have people who call me both, and it's just however you want to look at it at me. And I'm okay with being called both. It doesn't bother me. I know I'm a little bit bigger in some areas, and a lot of it has to do with my butt. My butt's more of an SSBW, if anything, but that's okay. I don't mind. And you know what? SSBW basically means super sized, big, beautiful woman, or super sexy, big, beautiful woman. It, really there's lots of different acronyms you can really throw with that. Especially and even with BBW, it could be big, busty women. BBW doesn't have to necessarily mean big, beautiful women. You know what I mean? Absolutely. So there are different acronyms that you can use for those different, words. So.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. When you talking about supersizing the butt, "My Humps" by Black Eyed Peas just got into my head. She's got me spending.
I love that song. I think I may play that tonight.
When she said that, I'm just thinking about my lovely lady lumps. I'm like, damn, man.
Yes, that's right. Oh, I love that song so much. It's just a fun one.
It is
a good one. But you're right, though. You're right. It's, again, it really just depends on what the person wants to be described as. And I'm kind of like right in the in-betweens. I think I'm both, to be honest, but that's just my opinion.
I'll tell you who you are. You're Julie Ginger and you're awesome. And just keep going with it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I'll tell you, I was even going to go another direction that I had my humps in there. I had a little Nelly Hot in here. I was like, good, gracious, ass, bodacious, vivacious. I could have went that realm, but hey, I figured my humps.
Hey, it's okay. I play Hot in here all the time too, so don't worry.
Oh my God. What has happened to music? And I love music, but just like I said, joints from back in the day and hits, man. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, but dang, just what we had like the early 2000s, the 90s.
Exactly. I love them. I love the fun like hits that happened back in like the early to late 90s and in the early 2000s. Like those were very like they're good to play for the club and for dances and like just to get people up and going and riled up. It's just it's good music in that era. Very good music, I have to say.
Awesome. Oh my God. Yeah, that's just bringing it back. I got a smile on my face just thinking about it.
Me too. Oh, it's funny.
Oh my God. All right. Now, so tell us, how did you get into the adult industry? And just let everybody know just how long you've been doing it. I think you're relatively new into the scene. Is this like, I'm going to say, if I'm wrong, you can correct me on this. Are you about like a year into it right now?
So I've been in for a year and year and a half now, actually.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so May of 2019 will be 2 years. So for me, how I got started in the industry, it's an interesting story, I think, for myself. So I've always just been very open sexually and I like to explore and be an exhibitionist. I kind of just learned all these things previous to getting actually into the industry. So Tumblr, if you're familiar with Tumblr, they have a very X-rated side to it. And that's kind of where I started posting pictures and short clips and just kind of putting things out there just because, you know what, I like the response I was getting just for people saying, wow, you're so beautiful, so on and so forth. And then at one point, this was probably, 2016, I would say. Yeah. I had somebody come to me, maybe like the later part of 2016, early 2017, somebody come to me on Tumblr saying, hey, I really think you would be really good in, porn, and you're beautiful and you've got this amazing ass and all these things. And I was just like, okay, I mean, all right, I could do that, I think. And so he gave me the information for BBW Highway. So I reached out, and the producer called me like within minutes. And because he had seen my stuff, he actually had me email him pictures just to, have, so he can really look at them.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. And we were on the phone, I think, the producer and I, he's the owner, producer, for videographer. He does it all by himself. And he told me, he was like, yeah, I would really like to have you come out here. And if you're really serious about this, I was like, you know what, I am. So we set up a time in May, and I went up there for the weekend. It was like 3 or 4 days, and get the hotel room and, everything, got a makeup artist, and, she helped me with my hair and everything. And then we got pictures started, and then I met, the first guy, and kind of just basically the rest is history. It just kind of worked out really well. I worked with BBW Highway for a very long time, and I still do. I have so much content from him that I have a lot to still put out. And so that's kind of how I got my start. I did it because I was bored and I wanted something different and new to do. Plus I love sex, so.
Well, first and foremost, who doesn't? And you got me thinking about the late great George Michael. I Want Your Sex. There's another pop culture reference. I can't stop it.
It's okay. Oh, it's funny.
So I think what's also great about your story is, like I said, loving sex and just doing what you love. And I think that's really important with all, not just the adult entertainment industry, but all facets of life. If you enjoy what you're doing and you're happy and with what you're doing, I think that's all that matters.
Absolutely. And it kind of plays back into like my DJing world too. Like I love what I do, and the fact that I can still DJ and then still be able to go off and do my adult industry stuff and kind of just carry both together, it really helps, with everything really. So it's nice that I don't have to worry about carrying a full-time job, because everything is, pretty set in stone and taken care of with both things that I do.
Julie, I have to ask you, another one that I've seen you do your thing with, Dirty Diva Entertainment does a lot of great films at working and producing and the overall production of the site. Can you tell us about working with Dirty Diva Entertainment?
I absolutely love working with Dirty Diva Entertainment. Actually, she runs my website. If you would like to know, it is bbwjulieginger.com. So make sure you check it out. But, going out to Vegas, I actually went to Vegas for my very first time back in July of this year. For my birthday, to be honest, but also to film some stuff. But going out there and being able to, work with people who are in the Vegas area or surrounding areas, and just overall, like you said, the quality is amazing. The way she does her editing, the pictures. I mean, she's very particular on how she wants things done, and that's why I like working with her, because she is like, she knows what she's doing, but at the same time, she has an agenda. She wants it done this way. And that's why I've been really working on making sure all the videos I do are up to the same quality. So it's very important to me to have that quality, because people like, to have it that way, a professional shoot. And that's what I'm aiming to do with my career, is make it very professional and not as amateur.
I think that's wonderful. I think that's how you have to look at it with a lot of things, because you don't want to have a lot of amateur work. You want to have the best production, the best quality, whether it be like we're doing here, podcasting, whether it be, just in general with your music, with shooting the scenes. I mean, I think Jen does an amazing job. I give a shout out to her. I think she's amazing at what she does. There's a lot of beautiful girls on site, such as yourself.
Yes. Oh my gosh, she is amazing, and she's got such a great entourage of people, as far as like the performers go. All the ladies. I haven't worked with every single one of them yet, but that's my goal coming up to January, is to really make sure I get, a scene with every single individual girl, because I want to make sure that, I'm giving them as much love as, they're giving me, and then also giving, Jen, Dirty Entertainment, her, love. And I absolutely adore Jen. She is such a good person. Just behind the scenes, she is so awesome. Like, yeah, I can't even, I could keep going on and on and on and on.
I think another site I saw you work, because I have another one I'm going to mention, but I wanted to address this one first. BBW Heathens is another one I saw you do some work for. Can you talk to us about BBW Heathens?
BBW Heathens is not an actual site.
Okay.
They're more of a promotional thing. So I did a takeover on their Snapchat for the very first time last week, and I had a really good time. Everybody seemed like they were enjoying themselves. I don't know how much traffic I've gotten from them as far as my website and on Twitter and Instagram and all these things, but I definitely know that they are very big advocates for the BBW community. They really do like to make sure that they're following all the girls. They're giving them the love. Every time like somebody does a tweet that you see them doing at BBW Heathens or at BBW Promotions or, things that just basically trying to get themselves, out there and giving themselves more, followers and things like that. But BBW Heathens definitely is a great advocate for the BBW community for promotion wise.
I will say this, and this social media also ties into the BBW Heathens here. Now, I've seen them do their work with yourself, and I'll be honest with you, I was a late bloomer to the social media stuff. I'll tell you a brief funny story here. So, my senior year of high school, I was the type of kid in high school that got along with everybody. I was very cool with everybody. So I wasn't like, the stereotypical jock, or, you have your gots over here, you have your what have you over there, etc., etc. So I was one of the kids that got along with everybody. I loved everybody, man, because that's how you got to be. Positive vibes. So I was friends with this sophomore at the time. Her name is Jackie. Still friends with her till this day. Sweetheart of a young lady. So what's funny is she asked me, I want to friend you on Facebook. Now this is 2009, 2010, right? So I'm in my final year of high school, and I'll be honest with you, I did not do Facebook. I did not want to have Facebook. But she's like, you gotta have Facebook. What do you mean you're not on Facebook? I'm like, all right, I'll create a Facebook. We'll be friends on Facebook. So it kind of like skyrocketed from there. And mostly all I use now, I think it's great promotion because like what we're doing here, podcasting, I use it for my Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It's great for promotion wise. But yeah, sometimes I think it's just like you mentioned, I'll tie BBW Heathens into it. It's great promotion tactics and marketing strategies. But I'm just like, after a while, you look at social media, it's like, stop the ride. I need to get off. I got to take a break.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like I'm tied to my phone 24/7. It's ridiculous. Now, I don't mind because that's obviously how I make a good portion of my living is by being on social media, interacting with my fans, posting things to get, traffic to my site or traffic to Instagram or vice versa to Twitter, or even to Tumblr. So yes, it can be frustrating at times, but it's a good thing in a way because that's how we really do make our living. If we didn't have social media, I don't know what we would do. I really don't. It would be so hard.
And it's funny to say that because I think you and I both growing up, we're both almost around the same age, and I think you can agree with this as well. I'm going to make a point with this. So we grew up in a time where internet, very popular. We've survived the days without when MySpace came into fruition and Facebook and what we have here. So I think we did all right for ourselves.
I think so, for the most part. Yeah, we definitely talked to our friends a lot more via face-to-face than we did over the phone or texting or even Skyping or things like that. So seeing the change, from being, in that era of, oh, hey, we actually have to talk to people to now, hey, I could talk to somebody who lives 1,200 miles away in a different time zone on Snapchat or Facebook or whatever, and it's not as personable, but it can be depending on who it is, I suppose. Somebody you've known for years and years and years, that's one thing, but somebody you've just met, it's a little different, obviously. But it is cool to see how much we've advanced over the last 10, 15 years. It's crazy.
Absolutely. I was one of those guys. I have The Social Network in my DVD collection. Jesse Eisenberg as Mark Zuckerberg, Justin Timberlake as Sean Parker. Man, oh man, they played such dickheads, but it was so good.
It was. That was a good movie, I have to say. Definitely brought new light to how, some things come about, So.
Oh my god, I think just the whole narrative behind that is like, I took a good idea and made it better, and they're like, but you clearly stole the Winklevosses idea.
Clearly you stole it, but
on a technicality.
It happens.
That's some great thing about technicalities and loopholes in life.
Exactly.
Oh man. So in Jerry Maguire, the infamous line is, you had me at hello. Well, with you, Miss Julie Ginger, you had me at milk and cookies. Can you please tell me about working with Christian Triplex?
Oh, that scene. Okay, hold on. Let me compose myself. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Christian is First of all, amazing. I know so many people hate him, but that's because he's so successful. He has been doing porn for 20 plus years, I swear to you. Whenever I get done with a scene with him, we usually go out and have dinner. And just the conversation that you have with him and the stories that you hear from his time with Naughty America and all these different places that he's worked with or who he's worked with is so interesting and just mind-blowing. But Christian is a great person. You have to get to know him a little bit. You have to like give him that chance, just like with anybody. You have to get to know the person to really understand who they are. And working with Christian in that scene specifically, my very last scene I did with him, was a lot of fun. And I did eat a cookie with his semen on it, and it was really fun. It was a new experience for myself, but I think it just made the scene so much more better. Like, holy crap, the smallest thing that you do can just set it off and just make it fire. And Christian and I just have a good working relationship. We have a good friendship. He's just a very good person to work with, I think, in my eyes. Yes, he does do the TS porn, and I don't have a problem with it. I find it, something intriguing, to be honest. And you know what? To each their own. I'm not a judgmental person. So, you know what? He's being successful in that area. Awesome. Good for him. I'm so proud and happy for him. So, yeah, Christian's just a good person overall, I believe.
I think we're on like the same wavelength here. I swear to God, because that was actually going to be my follow up to that, and thank you, because I was actually going to say, because knowing Christian, knowing his work, I mean, dude's a great at what he does with the websites like Pure BBW, Pure TS, etc., etc. I remember just like the stigma, and he's come up in my interviews, and I'm like, because there's like, oh, he does the TS porn as well. Let me tell you something. I've had Tyra Scott on my show, very popular in the TS community, AVN nominee, and I mean, probably one of the nicest people, and I mean, a lot of the TS people like to work with Christian. I think that's great. Like, I don't judge. I mean, like you mentioned, I don't judge either. Transsexual, do what you want to do, be happy. And I was actually going to ask you, with what Christian does in the, with transsexuals in that community as well, would you be up for possibly doing a scene with a transsexual?
Oh, absolutely. I actually have quite a few people that I follow in the TS community, and I've been just trying to work on getting to that point of doing it. Not that I'm scared to do it. That's not what I'm saying. Just trying to work it out and set up a schedule. And a lot of them don't live where I live, or they don't live close. They all live on the East Coast or on the West Coast or down south. And it's really hard for me being in Iowa. It's so hard for me because I have to travel everywhere. And it's hard sometimes because the income isn't there all the time. And so I have to really be very strategic about where I go, who I see, so on and so forth. So I absolutely would not have any issues doing a scene with a TS person at all. Actually, I think it'd be fun. I kind of find it hot, actually, because I like girls and I like guys. It's like, boom, this is the perfect setup.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win, exactly.
Now, I got to tell you right now, last thing I'll say about that scene, any woman would have my heart with milk and cookies. I'll tell you right now, that's just the ultimate combination there. Milk and cookies, are you kidding me right now? And another funny story I'll say to you, Boulder Creek was a restaurant in New York, right? Unfortunately, it's no longer in business. The spot where it was at on Long Island is now an Olive Garden. So, funny story about that, I used to love going there. Not also just because, the food being good in restaurants, the food quality and everything, etc., etc. But on the dessert, you get yourself some milk and cookies. And I'm like, yes. They come out with the cup of milk, your cookies, and you're in heaven. Boom.
Done. That is awesome. I've never, obviously heard of that restaurant, but I mean, who doesn't love a cup of milk and some cookies? Like, I mean, I understand some people don't, but that's fine. That's their prerogative, right? But
absolutely.
It always tops it off. Like, just a nice little sweet after the dinner, meal, taste, dessert, whatever.
And I'll tell you something right now, as someone who's straight edge, and no, I'm not one of those guys that's going to judge you if you smoke a cigarette or drink or anything, because no, I'm not going to do that. Like you mentioned, to each is their own. So as someone who was always straight edge and grew up with my grandmother, God rest her soul, who made like Italian, like chicken cutlets and pork cutlets and all that, just being around good cooking and good food. Food will always be my addiction. I'm sorry.
I agree. I'm right there with you. Absolutely.
So, like,
I yeah.
So, like, I understand that, and I look at, like, I'm like you, like I mentioned, DJ Pauly D. Look at Michael Sorrentino, Mike the Situation. Here's a guy that, was coming off of rehab and the drugs that he did. He was in a bad place, but look at him now. All the dude wants to do is eat. Give him some food, give him some chicken, give him a burger, give him something in front of him. We'll eat that down like nothing.
Exactly. And I agree. I love food too. Like, I am always, I try to manage, not to overeat, but to just eat, what I like and what I enjoy. And, especially Thanksgiving, oh my gosh, I have so many leftovers. Like, that's what I've been eating is my leftover Thanksgiving food.
Me too. We had so much turkey and stuff, and my cousin made brownies. I still got the brownies at home. We took the brownies with us. It's good stuff.
Heck yeah. I finished off the apple pie that my roommate brought home from her parents Thanksgiving, and she's got pumpkin pie. I'm a big pumpkin pie fan. That's one thing that I just never really been a fan of. But apple pie, ooh, honey, let me tell you something about that.
Apple pie is very good. We still got some apple pie as well. We're making everybody hungry now, but hey, Thanksgiving. You got to be thankful, not just for everybody, families, but food, baby, food.
Exactly. The food is what really brings us all together, I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
You can put a bunch of people in a room and none of them will talk to each other, but once you bring out the food, man, everybody's just at it. They're eating, they're enjoying themselves, they're conversating. It's because food really does bring people together.
Absolutely. And as my grandmother used to say, manja. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, another thing I got to mention to you. Okay. So, we talked about Christian in the scene. And now, another scenes I've seen you with. Now, I got to mention this to you. And I think it's great what you do with all your work. But I've seen a lot of interracial scenes with you. And one in particular, Will Tile. Can you talk about working with Will Tile?
Oh, I love Will Tile. Okay, so I met him for my very first time when I was in Vegas back last month. And we had been talking probably maybe a week or two before I arrived, just kind of getting to know each other a little bit. And as soon as I got there, he was like, hey, are you free? I'm like, oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm about to leave for a shoot, so on and so forth. He's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to come over and see you tomorrow. I was like, okay. So, like, we just hit it off so well. He is such a laid-back, sweet, just funny guy. Like, I mean, his body is banging, and he's got great member part that I enjoy very, very much. But he is we just had a great chemistry, a good connection. And we just enjoyed hanging out. I mean, even afterwards, we just laid there and talked and just shoot the breeze and just got to know each other a little bit better. And then when it came down to our actual scene, I mean, that was just amazing in itself. Filming in this beautiful house and just having this coy, sexy, neighbor next door type thing, and it was a good time, that's for sure. So he's definitely one to watch, and I'm happy that he does work with the big girls, but he does also work with skinny girls too. So he's versatile. He loves working with both, and that's what I enjoy about him the most, I think, is because a lot of the males porn stars who are now big named don't really work with the bigger girls, and I'm telling you, if they would, their followers would follow them even harder. But I can't be the one to tell them what to do. So I can just suggest them to say, hey, give the big girls a chance.
The legendary, and God rest his soul, John Lennon once saying, all we are saying is give peace a chance. Give big girls a chance. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I think, I've worked with Jack Slayer. He's definitely big in the dog fart community. He's big on black.com. I got a chance to work with him as one of my very first shoots with Plumper Pass. So, he was really fun to work with, but I don't think he does any more BBWs. I might have been one of the last ones that he worked with, which is fine. Again, his decision. But I definitely believe that if the, big named, companies would allow bigger girls into their fold, then I think that their companies would actually flourish better. But again, that is my opinion.
You know what's so funny about it too is, and I'll make a wrestling tie-in as well. I actually have two. Number one, look at a girl like Nia Jax, who is the cousin of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. This is The Rock's cousin we're talking about. Very dominant in the professional wrestling, but she herself, before she got into wrestling, was a plus size model, and she's an absolutely beautiful human being. Mm-hmm. That's another one. I think another one I can mention about this is, okay, so are you a big Howard Stern, Shock Jock radio fan?
I don't really listen to Howard Stern. I mean, I think I may have in passing on the radio occasionally, but I'm going to say no at this point because
Okay.
I really don't listen to him.
I'll be honest with you, I don't necessarily either, but I've heard a few time to time because you know how you have friends that like the shock jock stuff, which is cool. To each is their
Sure.
own, right? All right.
Right.
So I remember there was this one episode with John Cena. This is when he was still wrestling, not as now where he's like acting and I'm gonna wrestle here, I'm gonna act now. Like,
Yeah.
Okay. So John Cena was on 2006, and he told a story about having sex with a fan who was, I'm just going to say it, he was a BBW. I'm not going to give the full weight, but she was a BBW. And a lot of his guys, a lot of the guys in the locker room were like, no, man, you won't do that. You won't do that. They're kind of like, damn, like, no, you won't have sex with that. And he goes, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to enjoy it. And he talks about the experience of having sex with a BBW.
Well, that's pretty interesting because I would have never known that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't forgot how it even came because I remember obviously they're talking about wrestling. You promote the WWE, but you know how Howard Stern, you got to talk about like the sex and stuff and all that crap. So we just get into a conversation about John Cena and his sexual life and having sex with a BBW. So I'm like, that's cool. I mean, that's great. I'll be honest with you, that'd be my mindset about that. I don't care. I'm very like the term you mentioned, versatile. I mean, skinny girls, big girls. I mean, the versatility is all that matters.
I agree, absolutely, and I think to be honest, I think that bigger girls typically have better vaginas, but that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that the skinny girls don't, but I think that we're more I don't know, I think we just get turned on more and we just have better like fluids that come and that really just are there. I don't know, maybe I'm just I think at least in my experience.
So you remember earlier on in the show where I said that big girls have always been attracted to yours truly, and that's why always BBWs will have a special place in my heart?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that why?
Well, now besides that, I think they're just they're fun. They're like you're fun. A lot of them, but they're fun. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, we have more to hang on to and more to love, and you can go harder and faster and deeper, and we don't typically tell you to stop or push you off. Like I like it. I like it that way. That's just what I've naturally come to love. And it's just it's a fun. It's fun when it's a mutual thing. That's for sure. So that's why I typically like black guys, because they like to be more forceful and a little bit more rough, whereas some white guys don't. But I mean, it is what it is. So.
Well, I appreciate the bluntness and the honesty of that, because there's a lot of merit to your sentiments, and I agree with you on that.
Right, and I'm not putting down any white guys, because I've only worked with a few of them, and Thor Johnson is another one that I've worked with, which he's a lot of fun too, and he's a redhead, so that was also, I don't know if you saw that scene that we put out.
I did.
But the incest scene was a lot of fun to do, and it turned out really good, and people were like, "What? You did that?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't we go that route when we're both redheads, obvious redheads, And so he definitely knew what he was doing for sure. Him and Christian are definitely two of my favorite, white guys to work with for sure. Absolutely.
I was gonna say I did see the sibling rivalry, the role play. You guys had a lot of fun with that, with Thor, and all that. Mm-hmm. So I think that was great, and also. The sexiest redhead of all time, that being yourself?
Yes, of course.
Yes. Duh. I like that, by the way, because I've met, it's kind of like that. All right, for those, I'm like really all over the place with these pop culture references like that, but what can I say? I love music, so I'm going to make another one. This is probably very obscure, and probably a lot of people won't remember this, but I'm going to go here. There was a group, like, the boy band craze in the 90s, and I'll admit I was a fan. Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees were the top three.
Yeah.
So No Authority was a group, and I saw them perform live once. They were signed to MJJ, which was Michael Jackson Jr.'s records, and Michael Jackson's record label. So they lasted like 15 seconds of fame, and one of their hit songs was called "Can I Get Your Number, Baby? Hit Me with the 7 digits." And one of the lyrics in the song is, "I've seen blondes, I've seen brunettes, and I've seen some really hot redheads, but I've never seen a girl like you."
Aww.
So that's
awesome.
That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's very obscure because they did last legit like 15 seconds. But it was a good hit. It was a good time for the pop genre. That's like 99, 2000 right there. I'm taking it back.
I actually don't think I've ever heard of them, so I might have to go look them up.
All right, I got you.
Listen, I've listened to a lot of music in my time,
Yes.
especially since being a DJ now. But quite honestly, sometimes you come across a band that you've never ever heard of, and then you end up hearing some of their songs. You're like, yeah, these are good songs. I like these. Why aren't they still around?
I totally understand. I'll tell you what. I'll send you some links. I'll give you the hookup on these songs, and maybe put them for your DJing in the future.
Heck yeah, absolutely. YouTube is my best friend.
Okay, now let's talk about the girls that you worked with as well, because Veruca Darling, Julie Rocket,
Yes.
Bunny De La Cruz, Nikki Cakes,
Oh yeah.
Marley Triplex. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful women that you've had the chance to work with.
I have, and I feel very privileged and honored, of course, to work with all of them, and them working with me, of course, because no scene is done one-sided. So when we worked together, with Veruca Darling and I did a scene together, and I did a strap-on scene with Marley, which was a lot of fun, and she knows how to work that. By the way, she is really good at that strap-on. I'm gonna tell you that much. But these women are just so beautiful and so equally as amazing. Each person, of course, and I've enjoyed every single one of them. Even after the scenes, we just hang out and just talk and cut up. We just have a good time when we're all together hanging out. So I appreciate every single one of them. Aston Martin's another person I've worked with. Alexa Gray is another person I've worked with. I've done. Who else have I done?
Julieta Velez.
Oh yes, Julieta Velez. I love her. Actually, it's so funny. She's kind of a redhead in a way too. 'Cause she dyes her hair, which is fine. But it was really fun because it looked so good on camera. Our hair and just everything looked really awesome. I have. Let's see here. Wanted to work with a few others. I just haven't got a chance to because just timing. But I'm thinking AVN time, it's going to happen. So, but Bunny De La Cruz is a lot of fun to work with. She's so sweet. Again, all these women, they're just amazing, each in their own different way. And I'm so happy that I've been blessed to work with them.
I think what's also great about it is with all these girls, like I mentioned, beautiful like yourself. And I think you guys you have a great dynamic and you feed off each other. And that's what makes for a great and quality scene.
Mm-hmm. I agree to that. Oh, Carla Lane is another one that I have not had a chance to work with, but I'm hoping to come AVN time because, her and I we have our sites done by Jen, and I'm not entirely sure exactly where she lives, but I'm pretty sure it is on the East Coast, but I don't know for sure. But she's definitely one of the ladies I would absolutely love to do a scene with because she's nominated for 2 AVNs this year. She's nominated for so many different BBW Awards, I believe. So she's just another one. I mean, I've got a bucket list, I swear to you.
Now, you mentioned...
I'm just checking. I'm sorry, I was going to say, I'm just checking them off. One by one.
Please, I wasn't gonna interrupt you. I was gonna go all Queen Latifah on you and say ladies first. So please go ahead. There you go. So I want to talk about AVN and the BBW Awards, but before we get to that, I have to ask you about your experience at Exotica Expo.
Oh gosh. Okay, so my very first experience was at Chicago Exotica this year, back in June. And I went more for just the experience of it. I actually didn't film anything while I was out there. Even though BBW Highway is stationed in Chicago, he had his own agenda. He had his own thing going on. And he's already worked with me so much that, it just didn't make any sense for me to film more stuff when I've got so much stuff already with him. So, but I went out there for the experience and just being in the presence of people that, you've always wanted to meet was really exciting. And walking around and seeing all the different vendors and seeing all the different booths. And I'm an MFC model, which is My Free Cams. I do camming on My Free Cams. And so being able to, go back there and meet different cam models and being just treated so well by MFC, because they really take care of their models, was just also really exciting. And being a part of this community really, it makes me happy. It does. But yeah, Exotica was a lot of fun in Chicago. I mean, I stayed at a hotel just down the road and Ubered back and forth, usually for free, because MFC gives us, access to free rides so that we're not having to pay to get there and get back to our hotels. I think one of my favorite things was just watching the different stage shows, like that twerk contest. They had strippers, and obviously they weren't completely naked, but it was a lot of fun. The male strippers were more fun, but of course I was very intrigued by them. The after parties were really fun. I got to hang out actually in a VIP with some of the male strippers from Exotica, because I ended up meeting them and just kind of getting to know them a little bit. And they were like, "You're really fun. We want to hang out with you." I was like, "Okay." But overall, I mean, just getting to see people I know and then reconnecting and networking was the biggest thing for me. I networked so hard. And so much that I think people, do know who I am, and meeting fans. I actually met a few fans in Chicago, so that was really cool. Yeah. So then I went to New Jersey, actually, just this past, wow, we're still in November, aren't we? So this month, back at the beginning of the month, I went to New Jersey for Exotica out there. Huge, 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 so big. Again, saw so many people, met so many new people. I got to meet Mr. Marcus. I got to see Ro Major again. I got to meet, who else did I get to meet? Oh, I finally got to meet King Noir, which definitely want to work with him. I saw so many people that I know. I went to dinner with, Miss Ling Ling, another person I got to work with. Love her. She and I actually went to New York back in May on a tour together. So we had a lot of fun then. But so I got to see her and her guy and me and Nikki Cakes. We all went to dinner and hung out. And so that was one of the things I love about Exotica, is that you get to see so many people and you get to reconnect, because you don't get to see them on a daily basis, especially in person. And so it was just nice to network again. I didn't film anything while I was out there. For some reason, while I'm there for Exoticas, I don't film, which is fine. But I just I want to go and enjoy the expo and see people and reconnect. And if a scene comes out of it, awesome. If not, okay,
So I have to ask you, AVN, BBW Awards shows are coming up. You excited?
Oh my gosh, I am super excited. I finally am going to be able to go. I wanted to go last year. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. But this year, I already had my tickets purchased, as far as my plane tickets. And so I know I'm definitely going to be there for at least 10 days. I may stay a little longer, just depending on what happens and finances and things like that. I've got things booked already to film, but yeah, I'm excited just to go and experience an award show, because I've never been to one before. I'm not entirely sure if I'm actually going to go to the BBW Awards. I haven't decided yet, but yeah, I'm excited. I really am.
Okay, so check out Julie Ginger at the AVNs when you go, and we all hope to see you at the BBW Awards show. I know that's going to be a great award show as well. Both are going to be very, very nice.
Yes, I absolutely agree. I am nominated for 3 different categories for the BBW Awards, but I don't expect to win anything. And that's okay with me, because I'm up against some really great and amazing women. So, just being nominated is truly an honor. I was nominated in Most Photogenic. I'm nominated in the SSBBW of the Year. And then I'm also nominated in Newcomer and in one other. I have to go look. Hold on. I can't remember what it is. But it doesn't matter. If you want to find out, you can always go to the bbwawardshows.com to nominate for me, or nominate me in those different categories if you choose to.
I'll tell you one right now. I was actually going to follow up with that. At least you're nominated and your work is being, shined. You're getting your shine, you're getting nominated, and that's going to be a very rewarding feeling.
It is, and I definitely am not discounting, being nominated, but, knowing that I'm still relatively new, I think that I'm not quite there yet to get an award, and that's fine. But I also think that some of some of the things that go on with the award shows not quite right. And that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother time. I don't want to go into the politics of that. I just, some things that I've heard, some things that have been told to me, and I don't quite get it. So, but it's all good. So I'm happy to be nominated.
Okay. Now, I have a couple final questions. I'm going to tell you right now, anytime you want to come back on the show, you're more than welcome.
Oh, I would love to. Yeah, you let me know and we can set something up. Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you this right now. So, on a side note, I have a pop culture history podcast where we talk a lot of pop culture. We talk a lot of music. So, if you ever want to come on my pop culture show as well, we'll set that up too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Now, I'm going to say this right now. After listening you talk about DJing and them hits, I really am looking forward to setting that one up. I'm just going to tell you that right now because we can have a lot of fun with that because I can see we like a lot of the same stuff, so we'll definitely shoot the breeze on some pop culture in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, I mean, DJing, I don't know if a lot of people know that about me, but I mean, I've been doing it for 3 years now, and I started off just doing karaoke at different bars. And then I started doing weddings shortly after that. And then I started doing trivia. But, I really do enjoy doing more of the weddings, if anything, because it gives me a sense of, like, I'm really, like, making somebody's day better. Mm-hmm. And I strive to make sure that every person's day is better. But really, though, it's just being able to play music and taking requests and, making sure people are on the dance floor having a good time. And I've had a lot of good reviews and then some not so good reviews. And I think it might have just been the day. It might have been just kind of crappy. And I just was letting it ruin the situation. So everybody has their ups and downs, but I do definitely enjoy what I do as a DJ. I'm not like those cool DJs that put mixes together and creates their own stuff because I still am learning, but I do still figure that I am a DJ in some aspect.
So Julie Ginger on the 1 and 2s?
Yeah, exactly. See, I think I would be a great radio DJ. I think I would be a great MC. I think I have that voice for it, to be honest with you. I've had people tell me during weddings or even just doing a karaoke show, they'd come up to me and be like, man, your voice just has this commanding feeling to it, and it's so clear and precise, and you speak like you should be on the radio. And I'm like, well, thank you.
Okay. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. So I think our show, when we do the pop culture show, and I definitely will set that up for the future, possibly after the holidays. But what's great about that show is, like, I'll review albums. We'll talk about whatever. Like, I just did a show on the 25 years of anniversary of Boy Meets World. I just did a show with a girl who was just on the New Kids on the Block cruise. So, I mean, we can talk about a lot of stuff, but we'll most certainly set that up for the future.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, the DJ thing, you got me on that. I think that's really cool. Just keep shining on the DJ front as well.
I'm trying to. I definitely, right now it's a slower season. Like, it's not as busy in the weddings department because we're, not as busy in the winter months. But we still stay busy doing other things. And I am the coordinator also for the company that I work for. And so I'm always constantly, making sure that everything's ready for next year, the year after next even. We've got bookings for 2020 already. So, like, we're just steadily staying busy, that's for sure.
Last thing, pop culture, and then we'll give your final thoughts. I had to mention this to you, so I just did a show on it for my pop culture show. Can you believe 22 years already for R. Kelly's I Believe I Can Fly? I Believe I Can Touch the Sky. I think about it every night and day.
That is crazy to believe it's been 22 years. I mean, I've sung that song at karaoke before.
I mean, come on.
Just because I was like, why not? Let me try something new.
And people say what they will about R. Kelly, but that man is the king of R&B for one reason, so yes.
Yes, I agree to that, absolutely. I mean, he's put out some good stuff, and yeah, he's had some, craziness go on in his life, but we all have that happen occasionally.
Absolutely, and also the soundtrack for Space Jam. I believe Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes, man.
Yes, oh my gosh, that just brings back so many memories. I remember watching that movie like so many times in a row, just because I loved it as a kid, and even into my teenage years, I still enjoyed watching it.
Yes, welcome to the Space Jam. Here's your chance. Do your dance.
All right. Space Jam.
All right.
All right. Wave your hands in the air if you feel right.
We're gonna take it into overtime.
Welcome to the Space Jam.
All right.
Don't even get get me started, honey.
Oh my God! All right, we'll save that for the pop culture show.
Yes, we'll save it for the next show.
Save for the next show. All right, now final thoughts, and what I mean by this is, now you're doing your thing, like you mentioned, relatively new, year and a half, going on to 2 in the adult entertainment industry. Do you have any advice for any guy or gal listening to the show right here, right now, that wants to get into the adult entertainment industry?
Oh, I have that question asked to me so many times a day. It's quite a little frustrating, to be honest with you, but I will give the advice.
All right.
If you're wanting to get into the industry, you need to, first of all, do your research, find out what type of porn you like to do. I mean, there's hardcore, softcore. There's just so many different types. People have fetishes. If you would rather be more of a fetish model, then you can do that. Really just do your research, and then start, your social medias. I would say maybe start with how I did it in Tumblr. Start putting your stuff on Tumblr, like whether it be your amateur videos or just even pictures of you nude or whatever. And just be respectful to other talents. If they say, I don't have time to talk to you, then don't bug them, because a lot of times they don't have time to talk to you. And then once you do get yourself into the industry, just keep going. Don't stop, because if you let your motivation stop, then you're gonna fall flat in your face. Also, I guess just when you work with somebody, be respectful. Don't be a jerk or a biatch, be yourself, but also be respectful, because these people you probably are going to be working with have been doing this a lot longer than you, and you don't want to ruin your chances for working with them again in the future, because I've seen that happen. I think also that you should definitely make sure that you're in an area where you can flourish. If you're living in small town Iowa like I am, you have to work twice, even 3 times as hard as most people. So just be somewhere where you're gonna be able to work hard and be with people that you can work with, and just stay confident in yourself. That's the other thing. Be confident in you and your abilities, and just don't ever lose that. Don't ever lose your confidence.
I think all of that was beautifully said. And I will say this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, it's true, and it's very adamant. And I also will say respect is key in everything. That's a big proponent for myself as well, and everybody should have that professionalism. But sometimes beating is fundamental, and that's horrible, but sometimes it's true.
It's true, yeah. Nothing you can do about it. Sometimes people just don't know how to be respectful, and I unfortunately have seen it. People just being just utterly horrible to male and female talents. And especially, the BBW community, sometimes we get the backlash a little bit more than others. So it's unfortunate, but it happens.
It's kind of like that rap song, "Take my picture, smack my bitch up." Kind of like that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So, I know too many songs.
It's okay. I'm not mad at it. I find it amusing. It's good that you do know that, because I mean, having that knowledge, it makes you very versatile, and the different things and different podcasts that you can do. So good on you.
Thank you. Oh my God. But yeah,
You're welcome.
So before we do close out, again, promote the BBW Julie Ginger, as I try to keep my composure. I mean, you with the milk and cookies, me just a pop culture all in all. Promote BBW Julie Ginger, the website. Promote your Twitter, your Instagram. Let everybody know where they can follow you, because the links will be in the description below this audio. Go right ahead, Julie. The floor is yours.
All right, so for Instagram, it is BBW Julie Ginger with 2 R's at the end, because I did get deleted at 55,000 my last round, so I'm trying to build back up. So make sure you follow me there. I am on Twitter, which is just regular BBW Julie Ginger with 1 R. My website, is bbwjulieginger.com. Super easy, super, a great website, to look at and have fun with, and my social media for Snapchat is xxjuliegingerxx, and I think that's about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Last thing I will say to that is, I did see, because I also have a cat, I we had 2 cats, unfortunately, last year. We had to put the other one down because of kidney problems, but we still got 1 left. My cat is going on 17, I think. Old cat, but still such a cute little cat. Her name is Scarlet. I've seen your cat, and I mean, your cat's all up in your videos with us.
Oh, and you know what? He's sitting here in my lap, and I'm petting him because he wants my attention because he knows I'm on the phone. So he's always all up in my stuff when I'm trying to do something. And it's so funny because, like, I know other people have the same issue, and I don't mind it. You know what? Who cares? It's a cat. What am I doing to the cat? Nothing, you know? But I think it's funny sometimes when he does come into my videos on accident or whatever. I can't really not lock him out because his food and water is in here, you know? And so when he does come in, you know, I just kind of ignore him and just, you know, say, all right, whatever, go on your way, do your thing. But he's my baby, and I love him so very much. I rescued him from the ARL, which is the Animal Rescue League of Iowa, and he's my boy. He definitely keeps me sane, that's for sure.
If you don't mind me asking, the name of the cat and how old is he?
Oh, his name is Oreo. And when I got him, he was over a year old. So I would say he's now going on about 5. All right. I've had him for a little while. And actually, I had 2 cats, but my sister took the other one, which she was more attached to. And I'm okay with that. And her name was Bailey. So I did have 2 for a while, but I let my sister take her. And I'm okay with that because I love my Oreo boy.
So I will say, because I've seen a very cute cat, I will say that as well. But Oreo, yeah, all up in the videos.
He is a cuddler, though. Let me tell you something. Like, when I am sleeping at night and I'm like laying on my back, he'll come up and he'll like lay on my left shoulder and put his body up against my face, and his purrs put me to sleep. Like, hands down, his purrs are so good. Like, I fall asleep to them. That is how cuddly he is.
And I think that's the great love right there, the cuddle and the love of the cat. So, before, again, any final words to your fans listening to this as well, Julie? Because you did give advice, so if you have anything to say to the fans, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just, you know, I do love and appreciate all my fans, and I do my best to show that on my social medias and in any videos that I do or on my Snapchat. And I do try to be as open to them as possible, but sometimes I just don't have time to talk to people, and it is what it is. But I want them to know that I still love and adore them, and I appreciate all their support and all their love back to me. And even when I do go through something pretty horrible, like I, have just a bad day, they're so encouraging, they're so loving, and they don't really understand how much that really means to me. So thank you so very much for all that love and support. And again, thank you. I love you guys.
And I can't wait to do another interview with you and On the Mic with Mike and Pop Culture. We'll definitely set that up. Julie, thank you so much for your time. And I'm actually going to add another one in there. You talk about BBWs, you talk about SSBBWs. I'm going to add one more. That's a WLW. You know what a WLW is, Julie Ginger?
A WLW? I think I've heard the term, but I'm not quite sure what that means.
That's a whole lot of woman. WLW.
Oh, okay. I like it. I may start hashtagging that. Well, it's a good one to use because, some of us are a whole lot of women.
It's a whole lot of beauty and a whole lot of awesomeness. Julie Ginger, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait till the next one.
For Julie Ginger, my name is Mike Larkin. This is another On the Mic with Mike. Everyone have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.